Hey everyone, this is AndreasG and I'm back with a casted 1v1 on the Messo system, and we've got Super Noob versus Thurgeon here. And as you may know, Super Noob is also known as Alpha, and he's a top-notch player. He's currently ranked 3rd, and we see both player opening with the bot factory, which is kind of usual on this map. I've seen someone start actually with naval to rush out, but both player going with a similar build here with an extractor and a fabber out. So what we usually see on this map is in the beginning some contesting over the main land here often leads to kind of a stalemate, and the player is fighting over the metal out here, and especially at this key point here where you find a lot of metal, and then it often turns into a naval fight. But it will be interesting to see how these players do it here. And we see already some different builds up. While Alpha is going a second air factory, Thurgeon is over to building power with his commander. Both players are using 2 fabbers to build extractors, which increases the building speed, so they get up the extractors faster, and therefore they're less likely to stall. We see now a couple of air fabbers out from Alpha, while Thurgeon is going 3 land fabbers. I think it's a good call for Alpha. We see that Thurgeon is now queuing up an air factory, but those fabbers, they will be able to build at least a couple of mechs until we have fighters up, and we actually see they have queued up a factory here on a good position, and that's actually a very good position, I think, because it's kind of in nowhere, so it's not likely that Thurgeon will scout there in the first few minutes now, so he will probably be able to get that factory up before that. We see Alpha trying to scout early fabbers here, but he misses the late Thurgeon's air fabber. But Alpha has 2 himself and is getting up the naval factory fast, while we see Thurgeon not having one single air factory. But we now see also that the air fabber has queued up a naval factory there, and another one is going out building some metal extractors. Alpha actually just missing both of those air fabbers. That's unfortunate for him, and just missing it again trying to scout the outskirts. We see a good rating here, and he actually got, I think it was all 3 fabbers there. That's a big win for Alpha there, and it takes down an extractor too, and it puts him ahead in expansions, although Thurgeon, which has grabbed some more metal now, is looking actually better than Alpha and Eco. He's actually got up 2 vehicle factories as well. Some good bombing here. He's just stopping over the extractor, but fighter coming and saves the day for him. We see Alpha going vehicle factories as well, and if we look over here, it's a the naval factory is built, and it's a radar and a narvals. Now they have anti-air protection and radar, and they goes on to build some mechs, as we see here, while Thurgeon has one finished himself. So interesting to see here what will happen. We see some rating here from Thurgeon. Interesting to see what they can do. We see good microing from him, taking out those docks before he takes down the radar as well. And now Alpha is kind of in the blind, even though he has like a bomber out here to have good vision. But will Thurgeon take out extractor this early? Every extractor counts. And will he get a fabber kill? Yeah, 1 goes down and 2nd goes down. That's a payback for last time here for Thurgeon. And Alpha doesn't seem to react to this, and he takes down 1 and maybe even 2 more. Alpha focuses on the battle in the middle here, while not realizing that that Dox is there. Maybe unfortunate colors, hard to say. We see three narvals out now, and they are moving towards this key point here where Thurgeon already has Faber out starting to build extractors. We see now that he's exposed. It's fairly likely that Alpha will be able to take him out, as we see both of the players equal in terms of eco. And if we switch over to the army count, both are very equal there as well, but Alpha has more Dox in the mix, which we know is weaker when the armies are tanking, but they're also cheaper. We see though that Alpha is 2 factories ahead. That's a lot, and Thurgeon is wasting an awful amount of eco. We see here though he has a fairly good unit composition, managing to pull that tank in the front there, so Alpha takes down those tanks with no problem. And he has probably scouted. No, he hasn't scouted those. Yeah, he scouted those extractors being built there, and it's fairly possible that we see narvals moving over. But now Thurgeon has 3 narvals protecting himself, as we see here. As I mentioned earlier, both players fighting over the metal extractors here. These Dogs here actually managed to take down 2 of those metal extractors without Alpha even doing a thing. We see some interesting confrontations here. Alpha with some anti-air in the mix, smart to take out possible bombers. Thurgeon with a lot of bombers out. Will he try and take out some of the metal? We see now that Alpha is spamming out those naval factories. Will try and get the foothold here in the naval run, while Thurgeon is stuck at 1 factory. And I have to say though that both players are almost equal in eco. Thurgeon is actually ahead, but then again we have the huge difference in factories here, and that is really the main problem of Thurgeon at the moment. His issue is that he's wasting all his eco, and his commander is sitting idle. He has fibers. He should definitely start building some factories instead. And as we see Alpha closing in on his base, we see on the backside here too, Alpha's actually managed to kill off the engineer here. Good play with those narvals, and stop his eco expanding here, which really should build factories instead. We see now Alpha taking down some of those metal extractors, but the truth is that it doesn't really matter for Thurgeon at the moment because he's floating. He should start building some factory ASAP, unless I don't see how he's gonna win this game. Good start from both players. Very similar builds, kind of equal the first 10 minutes or so, maybe 5. But then we see the difference between the skill levels of those 2 players in the terms of Alpha going factories, balancing the eco, while Thurgeon is letting it slip. And we see the difference just increasing here as Alpha is destroying Thurgeon's metal. But indeed, this is the first time we don't see his wasting in terms of metal. Actually, he still is. And that's not good. He needs to get more factories up right now, and we see Alpha going around trying to take out metal extractors, but as you may saw, he was idle there for some seconds, which really destroyed that chance for him. 3 bombers here. It will be interesting to see if they can do any damage, and we see they starting taking out some metal extractors. He definitely need that, but they don't have any fighters to protect them, and in comes the fighters, and they're gone. We see here some nice expansions from Alpha here, grabbing a lot of metal extractors. Also having 3 factories there, actually not building a 3rd at the moment due to his eco, and that's smart. He really knows how to balance his eco. We don't see any Trico from any of the players. I think both they realize that the land is exposed at the moment. We see Alpha though with the huge, he probably have some Trico somewhere, because I wouldn't see any other way that his eco will jump like that. And this is, I have to say, this is the beginning of the end for Thurgeon, with Super Noob 3 times his metal from in some seconds there, and just closing in here, and some nice infernos in the beginning here. Terrible micro from Thurgeon, which is doing something else, bringing those bombers in, but nice anti-air in the mix there from Alpha, and the commander is exposed. This is probably GG, guys. He desperately needs a couple of extremely good Uber cannons now to be able to protect against that force. But the tanks are too many. This is over, guys. This is GG. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. It was interesting to cast this, as we see Thurgeon is blowing up any moment. A good win there for Alpha as the game go into a lag. Nice commander explosion. Yeah, but it was really the factories that did the trick for Alpha today. If Thurgeon would have been able to build out those factories in the same way as Alpha did, and continued on building back here, contested some metal points, this game would definitely be a closer game. So thank you guys for watching. I've had a lot of fun. Hope you guys have had so too, and we'll be back with some more high class players casting. So see you guys around. Haha, Infernos, man. Yeah, boombots, good stuff.